Let me start with this case. This is a 32-year-old male who presented us with neck pain and right radiculopathy and then severe pain with motor sensory deficit corresponding to that level. This was his x-rays, and you can see CC5, 6 reduced space. If you go to the MR, you see a large disc, which is a right paracentral disc at C5-6. So extrapolation of a treatment of a lumbar disc herniation with radiculopathy, all of us would do it posteriorly, and so open microsurgical posterior phonotomy would be an effective treatment with disadvantages of collateral tissue damage, muscle damage, neck pain, shoulder pain, lordosis, and spinal instability. Posterior cervical foraminotomy was discovered by Sperling and Scalville, having 3 types, open, microscopic, and endoscopic. If you really compare both them, you have a minimum blood loss in the posterior cervical foraminotomy, surgical time is less, inpatient medication is less, and hospital stay is less. But you can have an inadequate decompression or removal of the disc fragment. You can have a wrong level. You can have a nerve root injury, or you can have a vertebral artery injury, or rarely a rare embolism in old cases where you do a in sitting position. So the cervical disc prolapse is usually in the posterior lateral direction because the strong posterior longitudinal ligament prevents direct posterior herniation. And so coming back to our case, how to proceed about it. So anterior or posterior, so we were having a conference and a famous endoscopic surgeon was there with us. So he said he'll do it an endoscopic posterior cervical foraminotomy. And this is how it started. So it was an hour since, and we couldn't find any disc in that. And then it was time to go back to basics and check it that we were working all around C4-5 instead of C5-6. So that's a wrong level, as all of my previous speakers have said that from small incision they can go to 3 levels, so you can always go to a wrong level also. And so that was the problem. Imaging is important even in minimum invasive because you are focused on one level. So that's so it has a better access to laterally positioned discs and allows loose fragments. It's all the advantages like avoidance of injury to the interior structures. And but despite these advantages, the indication of posterior cervical foraminotomy is limited to only patients with isolated nerve entrapment without cord compression. Contraindications remain as cervical instability, kyphotic deformity, and ventral pathology with bilateral radiculopathy. Anterior approach can tackle any disc, hard or soft, and bilateral symptoms. Benefits include restoration of height, restoring lordosis, and improvement in overall cervical alignment. But the same thing, you have an intraoperative problems as dysphagia, vocal cord paralysis, C5 palsy, to postoperative pseudoarthrosis, graft subsidence, kyphosis, and adjacent segment disease. So the surgical management of cervical radiculopathy is a controversial area. Cervical radiculopathy is candidate to foraminal stenosis or lateral disc herniation. Refractory to conservative treatment is one of the most common pathologies that we treat, and ACDF is accepted as a standard treatment. So if you look at this study where they look at the cost of reoperation in US in 2 Medicare, United Health and Medicare, they looked at the reoperation after first year to up to 4 years ranged from 8.3 to 17%. And they looked at the revision surgery, which primary surgery cost $8,000 and revision surgery went up to $70,000 US. Similarly, in the C5 policy case, the posterior has more incidence, and the 5% patient that had posterior foraminotomy underwent ACDF at index level at the average of 31% postoperatively. So to conclude, anterior cervical discectomy and fusion can be performed for all types of discs, solid anterior fusion, ventral osteophyte contributing to nerve root compression usually resolved, avoids cord manipulation, buckling of ligamentum flavum, and posterior longitudinal ligament, which contributes to cord and root compression, are reduced by regaining the disc height, both direct and indirect decompression. There are 10 times more ACDF procedures performed than PCF. time-tested good results in obvious justification for the surplus of STDF versus PCF. Thank you.